Long-haired weirdos, short-haired weirdos, vandals, hooligans.
The government, hug the government, love the government, hug the government, love the government.
Welcome to The Politics Guys, a place for bipartisan, rational, and civil debate on American politics and policy. I'm Trey Orndorff, a political scientist at Oklahoma Christian University. And I'm joined today by Jay Carson, an Ohio area attorney and the defender of freedom. Jay, welcome to the Midweek's Politics Guys.
Great to be here.
Yeah,
this is fun. I'm glad I get to participate in this project that you and Ken have been working on.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun. You know, when we first even thought about it, we had kind of maybe envisioned more of us getting to be a piece of it. But, you know, it's hard because you get weeks off and you don't want to be on. But so, Jay, it's a lot of fun that the two of us are going to get to take on the Constitution. So in this show, what we do, all the midweeks, we're always breaking away from the news cycle and we're taking something on. And so what Ken and I have chosen to take on, like, I don't know, any academic would like, is like a 132-part ongoing series. I feel a little bit like the Federalist Papers on that front, Jay. It was like, listen, I've got one more thing. We're going to just keep going.
No. And I was going to, I feel bad I haven't moved forward on my Federalist Papers project, but we'll get there, people. So, yeah.
Oh, so you guys were going to do the Federalist Papers?
Yeah, no, Mike and I started, actually. Yeah.
Oh, so okay. So where are you guys at?
Things keep coming up. We're at 4. Okay. So 81 to go, I think, right? So
yeah. That's
we're taking them in chunks. So I think next is going to be like 4 through 6. But,
okay. Well, you're getting there. Okay. Well, yeah. So we get to break away. It's so, instead of doing the Federalist Papers, I wasn't actually taking a shot at you. I had forgotten about that, to be real honest. We've been doing it section at a time. So, we started with just understanding the Constitution in general. And so this might be a good time. If you haven't listened to any of the midweek shows, what we always encourage you to do is to go ahead, back up, and actually listen to them. These are sequential. We are building right there. So we build this out. And we've been going through that. And so we started by understanding where the Constitution came from, its origins. We talked about that. And then we started going through it, starting with Article 1, because again, Congress is where the framers end up deciding to begin. They see Congress as being the primary source of power, the primary activity of government. And so the Article 1 ends up dealing with Congress. And so what we have moved on to now is we're now in Article 2, which deals with the executive branch. It's not nearly as long as Article 1, but it is still relatively complex. We're going to see as we start getting into Article 3, things change up, and we've already chatted about that a little bit. Today, we're going to be focusing on my hope is that we at least get through Article 2, Section 3, and then if we have time, we may actually just finish out Article 2. So we're going to play that by ear on time and see how that goes. So Jay, let me just start by reading. So this is Article 2, Section 3 of the Constitution. And I'll remind everybody, if you are interested in, as you're following along with us, one of the tools I really love, you can head to theconstitutioncenter.org. And theconstitutioncenter.org has an interactive Constitution. So you can click on pieces of it, you can read it. This is actually how I teach the Constitution. It's got interpretations and debate. I mentioned this earlier on. It's actually in the show notes from the beginning of this series, but I'll bring it up again to say I really highly recommend, if you're following along and you're curious about this, to head to the constitutioncenter.org's interactive Constitution, because it's a really, really useful tool if you're serious about understanding it. So here is, do you use that? Or what do you use, Jay?
I would also put in a plug for that organization, National Constitution Center. They put on a lot of great programs that are webcast and so forth. So yes, I'm a big fan. Constitution Center. It's worth checking out. So.
Yeah, sometimes I'm not always as big a fan. I know it sounds weird given my age, but there are a lot of digital things that I don't think work out as well as non-digital things. But this is one where digital makes it so much better. You have all of it. I would have killed for this.
Yeah.
Once upon a time. Okay, so Article 2, Section 3. So again, we're talking about the presidency, and it says he, meaning the president, he shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the state of the Union and recommend to their considerations such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. He may, on extraordinary occasions, convene both houses or either of them, and in case of a disagreement between them with respect to the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them to such time as he may think he shall think proper. He shall receive ambassadors and other public ministers. He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed, and shall commission all the officers of the United States. So there's a lot going on in Article 2, Section and 3. And so I think we might want to start with the beginning of this, which is this whole, okay, he's going to, from time to time, give Congress information on the State of the Union. I always tell students, Jay, that this was one of the first portions of the Constitution that I knew as a kid, and I kind of hated it because what it meant was that television was going to be screwed up. For a little bit of time. It's hard for us to remember this, but what this has meant pragmatically in the contemporary time is, well, maybe not anymore, but an address that the whole nation is going to be listening to as it comes,
or not.
Well, yeah, anymore. The or not is the growing portion. That's something we might chat about. But yeah, talk to us a little bit about the State of the Union address.
Oh, so I mean, first of all, it wasn't always, delivered in person. In fact, for quite a while, it was just sort of handwritten and sent across the street, and you'd get the letter, and the president of the Senate, or the presiding Senate pro tem of the president of the Senate, as it were, would read the communication from the president, and that was that. I'm actually not a big fan of what the State of the Union speech itself has evolved into, right?
Yeah, it's a very different thing. Yeah,
it does strike me as sort of this, imperial trappings and so forth that my small R Republican soul revolts against, right? The idea of having everyone stand and applaud it's again, I'll use the word I used the other day. It's maybe a little unseemly for a democracy, right?
Yeah.
Again, and in my conservative Burkean small R Republican world, there's this sort of thing of it's best not to get overly enthused over any one leader. And I think that's the way the framers wanted it as well. And I don't think they would have envisioned this requirement of from time to time giving Congress information on the State of the Union as the sort of the media circus and the attempt at executive overreach that it's become. So that said, I think it is wise that the framers put that in there, that the president ought to keep the Congress updated from time to time. So
yeah, but I mean, like you said, that's for a while. As a matter of fact, it's Jefferson who ends up going, wait a second, we need to pull back from this. We need to have a written communication so that we're not aggrandizing the presidency in a way that's anti-Republican. But yeah, no, that view eventually dies. And then by the time you get to really Theodore Roosevelt is going to be the beginning of kind of changing that view of where the president is going to have exposure in a way that we wouldn't have thought before then. And then it really gets solidified with what were called the fireside chats of FDR, which was like, well, look, if we can get all of this kind of publicity, if I can kind of set out my view of what we're going to be doing in these State of the Unions, why not do that more frequently? Why wait for that? Today we don't even think about it as being unusual, but it's not until you get to President Taft where you even have presidents sending legislative proposals onto Congress as a part of this package of what you're doing with the State of the Union. So, today the State of the Union, it's, here in Section 3, it's like from time to time you're going to give information. And today it's become more than just information, but really a broad set of considerations for here's what we ought to be doing.
Right. Well, those are the measures that he may judge necessary and expedient.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's not wrong, but I think
the actual address is rarely expedient.
Yeah. Well, anymore. I mean, now, do you know? I don't know. This is just a little bit of trivia. Do you know who has had the absolute longest speeches?
I think it would be Bill Clinton.
Yes. Clinton had the longest by, a country mile, as we might say, far and away the longest to take those on. So, then we get these little bits of, I think for modern readers, maybe unusual phrases, so we get here to the middle of section 3 where it says, he may on extraordinary occasions convene both houses or either of them. And in case of disagreement between them with respect to the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them to such time as he shall think proper. Oh my goodness, I got to get into my right reading voice for some of this, Jay.
Yeah. I'm scrambling for an historical occasion when that happened. I would think did FDR call a joint session of Congress when Pearl Harbor was bombed?
Yes, I believe that is the most recent.
I believe
time.
That's one that jumps to mind. But I'm trying to think of other times or other extraordinary occasions when the president has convened both houses of Congress. And you may know better than me, but again, Pearl Harbor is the only one that comes to mind right off the top of bat.
No, I believe that is in fact, I think that's the last time.
Yeah.
I would have to, again, I don't have that all right in front of me, but I do believe. Yeah.
And I don't believe there's ever been the adjournment of them the time to time if they couldn't agree what time to adjourn. But apparently the framers thought that could be a problem. So.
Well, and that's another thing to keep in mind here, right? Today we were talking about Ken and I were talking about this 2 weeks ago, right? It's not really the adjournment that's the big issue, but it's the how can we keep it going longer that has become the more pressing might be the correct or the more questioned issue when it comes to presidential power. Presidents don't generally want Congress to be adjourned unless they want to put through recess appointments, which is what we were taking on. Yeah. So we have that, and then as we move forward, then we have the semicolon, but we get some really different items that mean a big deal. We get he shall receive ambassadors and other public ministers, and then that's a big deal.
Yeah. Again, that goes to the sense that the president is the in charge of foreign policy, and there was a debate. Back in the day, this was during the Washington administration, where between Madison, who had sort of argued that, this receiving ambassadors is sort of purely ministerial, and it's not by receiving an ambassador, the president is not conferring recognition on a country's government. But Hamilton argued the other way, that it's essentially he expressed. In the Federalist, he really said that the power includes the judging in the case of the revolution of government in a foreign country, whether the new rulers are competent organs of the national will, again, whether this is a legit government or not. So that's the a big sense of the president being our essentially sole, if not maybe a little with assistance from Congress, foreign policy actor, and that foreign policy is vested in the executive.
Well, this brings us to the end of our ad-supported preview. And if you'd like to hear the rest of this midweek's Politics Guys episode, you're going to need to become a supporter. And the only way the Politics Guys works is with supporters. So to get this show and so much more, all you have to do is head to patreon.com/politicsguys. Again, that's patreon.com/politicsguys. You're going to see different levels of support, all kinds of things you're going to get. One of the items that you can get is access to the midweek show. Now, we've got other things that I'm really excited about, and that includes things such as doing live shows with Mike and Jay. So if you want to hear more from Jay, you can be part of their $10 Patreon. Or maybe you want to be part of our Discord group where I and others of the hosts end up getting when chatting with you personally. But there's all different kinds of options, and one of them is ad-free shows plus the full midweek show. And this week, of course, it's myself and Jay going through the Constitution. So I'd love for you to be a part of that. And if you haven't been a part of it, you'll be able to go back all the way, hear all of the episodes dealing with the Constitution and all of the other midweek supporter-only shows that we've had. So here's what I'm going to tell you to do right now so you can hear the rest of this show. Head to patreon.com/politics, guys, and pick your level of support. And then go ahead and download this and so many other episodes. There's other ways to support us as well. You can head to Venmo, where we're at Politics Guys. You can also hit the show up through PayPal. All of those are in the show link. So scroll on down there, swipe on down, and take a look at the different ways you can support the show, including patreon.com/politics guys. All of it is also at politicsguys.com/support. If you've liked this preview, but are just not in a position to support this financially, hey, I get that. All you got to do is reach out to Mike at politicsguys.com, tell him what's going on, and we'll happily hook you up. Now, whether you're a supporter or not, we really would appreciate it if you could review our podcast. Do that right now in the podcast app of your choice. It's totally free, helps us a bunch, and I appreciate it. If you've got any kind of questions, you can send us them to mail@politicsguys.com, and we're also on Facebook and Twitter. All you got to do is scroll on down the, you know where it is, the show notes. I'd like a special thanks for the executive producers of the Politics Guys. That is Bruce Johnson, Wilmer Marino, Andra Masker, Daniel Toe, Ryan Beasley, and Don Oglesby, and Ivan English. We'll be back with a new full episode this weekend where I hope you'll join us.